The Swarm is the United Kingdom's original wing coaster. Located at Thorpe Park, this B&M creation utilizes this riding position to perfection, as there are a series of fun elements and near misses. In this video, I will review this coaster and discuss how it stacks up to the other wing coasters out there. Aerodynamics opened X at Six Flags Magic Mountain in 2002. This was not just the world's first fourth dimension coaster, but it was also the world's first wing coaster. This type of ride seats guests on the side of the track. This gives guests an open feeling because there's no track above or beneath them. Then the wider vehicles offer different dynamics than a traditional narrower train. Bolliger Mabillard developed their wing coasters in the late 2000s, and Merlin has been the top customer for the model. They have purchased 5 thus far. This includes the first 2 B&M wing coasters with Raptor at Gardaland in 2011 and Swarm at Thorpe Park in 2012. Then they added Flug der Damen into Haida Park in 2014, and they most recently added 2 family wing coasters in 2023, Mandrill Mayhem at Chessington World of Adventures, and Maximus at Legoland Dutchland. Now let's delve into Swarm specifically. This was the final coaster for Thorpe in a decade of investment. They added 5 major roller coasters in just a 10-year span that saw this smaller park transform into arguably the UK's premier thrill park. Some articles called Swarm a misfire upon opening. This is because Thorpe's attendance actually decreased in its inaugural year, which is very strange when a park opens a major new coaster like this. It wasn't necessarily Swarm's fault. In fact, that coaster likely prevented Thorpe's attendance from falling even further in 2012. The true reasons for the decline in guest numbers were likely the park's poor branding, the local Olympics garnering crowds, and extremely poor summer weather. On the bright side, this prompted the park to introduce the Brave It Backwards option in 2013. This turned the final 2 rows backwards, giving guests a unique experience. I never got to try it, but I heard it was a cool and disorienting experience. The park stopped this after the 2015 season. I have heard 2 reasons for this, but neither have been confirmed by the park themselves. 1. The queue system caused confusion. From my understanding, guests who want to go backwards were given a paper ticket and entered a separate queue area. Then many people want to wait for the very back row for the unobstructed view, making it harder to fill the second and back row, leading to reduced capacity. 2. 2015 was the year of the unfortunate accident on the Smiler at Alton Towers. In short, 2 trains collided. A loaded train was erroneously advanced into the layout where a prior train had already valleyed. This caused significant injuries for those in the front row. There are rumors that Swarm seats were placed forwards for safety liability reasons in the extremely rare case it were to ever collide. The aforementioned Mandrill Mayhem opened with a backwards row, but it avoided all these pitfalls. The backwards seats are only the last row. There is no ticket system nor separate queue. You are assigned that row at the end of the queue, or you can ask for it. Then, there is 0 chance of a collision because this is a shuttle coaster operating just 1 train. But back to Swarm. This coaster was placed in its own mini area known as Swarm Island. It was placed to the right of the main entrance on reclaimed land from a lake. This land is themed as an apocalyptic wasteland following an alien invasion. There are overturned and crashed vehicles, shipping containers, and damaged buildings all throughout the area. Then the coaster itself interacts beautifully with this area. It narrowly avoids several bits of the theming. I especially love the inversion through the decimated church, which doubles as the station. The fact this layout travels over and around the midway provides so much kinetic energy. Plus, the ride's black and gray paint scheme complements the dark theme well. This coaster usually has a sizable wait, like so many major rides at Thorpe Park. It often hits the 45 to 60 minute mark most days, and it can go even higher on particularly busy days. That is even with this coaster having good capacity. It typically operates 2 trains, each holding 28 riders. There are 7 rows, with a pair of guests on each side of the track. With the wing-style seating, there are 2 separate load platforms, one on each side of the track. At the merge point, you can select either side. I find the near side, which is the right side when seated on the coaster, tends to have a shorter wait because the queue physically has much less space to it. The far side is a staircase that crosses over the track, so if both are fully backed up, the stairs side will take considerably longer. If you want to avoid the longest waits, there are a few tips. 1. Head here immediately. Now this only works if you're at the front of the rope drop crowd though. Most people now go towards the park's largest coaster in Hyperia, but Swarm is relatively close to the main entrance, so it will attract a crowd relatively quickly after that initial rush. 2. Hop in line at the end of the day. The park keeps queues open until park closing time. Not only will there likely be less people in the queue, but there will be no more fast track users admitted. This means the queue will move faster. 3. The queue commonly dips in the early afternoon after guests have advanced further into the park. Not only is Swarm towards the front entrance, but Swarm Island is a dead end, so there's only one way in and one way out. And it's the only ride over there, so you have to go over there explicitly for this coaster. Nothing else. Even on busy days, I have seen the wait drop to 15 to 20 minutes if you time it right, but know that line will increase later in the afternoon once people have made a loop of the park, so there really is a short window where you can capitalize on this. 4. Utilize the park's paid Fast Track Skip the Line service. Fast Track can be pricey, but it comes in a few different flavors. There are single shots, there are multi-ride packages allowing you to skip the line for a handful of coasters once, there's the all-day unlimited option, then there's a hotel-exclusive unlimited Swarm Fast Track. The on-site Shark cabins have rooms themed to different coasters. Your room comes with an unlimited Fast Track for the coaster your room is themed to. You select the room and coaster at the time of booking, and one of the options is Swarm. Then the hotel offers unlimited Fast Track during the first or last hour of the day as an added perk as well. At the end of the Swarm's queue, you are free to select any row you'd like. There is no grouper here, which to me is a nice contrast from a lot of the other Merlin UK parks that have assigned seating. There is not a bad seat in this coaster, but I have a slight preference for the front row. With the unobstructed view, you are able to fully appreciate all the theming and near misses. If you want a slightly smoother ride, I recommend sitting on the inside seats. The outside seats have more of a bounce because you're essentially seated on a cantilevered arm, but the near misses are more effective here, so it's personal preference. The bounce is not too bad, nor will it cause a headache, but you will probably notice it. Once seated, you are secured by vest restraints. These are found in all the B&M wing coasters. There's a thicker bar by your pelvis. Then, there's a soft, stretchable piece securing your upper body. These are snug, but comfortable, and this restraint system prevents any headbanging, not that there's any anyway. Outside the slight bounce on the outside seats, this coaster is very smooth. Once dispatched, you ascend the 127-foot, or 39-meter tall lift hill. It faces away from the park, but you still get a nice view of some of the other rides if you're seated on the right. At the top, you traverse one of the signature elements of a wing coaster, the wing over drop. This starts off as a super slow barrel roll high in the air. This offers fantastic hang time, particularly up front because you travel through it so slowly. Then you have a dive loop down to ground level. The back row is pulled into this, giving some air time in the descent. Then everyone gets strong G's in the pullout, so much so that I routinely gray out here. And as a bonus, this part ducks underneath a plane if you have not lost your vision. Next is a large 0G roll. The front is pushed through it at a solid clip. Meanwhile, the element is floatier in the back. Then the pullout features my favorite near miss in the ride. You pierce through a large billboard. The clearance envelope is super tight on all sides. This leads directly into an inclined helix. This offers sustained positive Gs. They are particularly strong in front, and I'll usually gray out here once again. They're not quite as strong in back, but still decent and very sustained. This is followed by a low rightward turn. This time, the G's are reversed. They are solid in front and even stronger in back. Then if you're on the right side of the train, you are positioned beneath the track and you get super close to the water. It is such a sweet visual. This fluidly transitions into a corkscrew. It is fairly floaty no matter where you're sitting. Then there are two great near misses on the left side of the train. At the apex, you narrowly avoid the prior helix. Then the exit shoots on through a corner cutout in the aforementioned billboard. You then twist upwards and to the left. There are some water fountains that trigger off to your left, which is yet another nice touch. Then, you have the fourth and final inversion, an inline twist through the station. It is delightfully slow and drawn out, offering amazing hang time. Then, there are multiple close calls. Both sides narrowly avoid the station building itself. Then, the support beams midway through form a perfect cutout when fully inverted. Swarm then hits a mid-course brake run, but the coaster really is over at this point. It feels similar to the finale in Hershey Park's Candymonium. There really isn't much else. After losing a lot of speed, you have a slow leftward turn into the final brakes. That is it. You then return to the station, ending the 2,543 foot, or 775 meter long experience. It does feel an element or two short compared to the other wing coasters, but I love what it features, and it is a very well-paced coaster with no dead spots during the main layout. So what would I rate the Swarm? I would give this coaster an 8.5 out of 10. This is a very good wing coaster. Definitely one of the better ones. It is among the best of its kind for pacing. All the turns and inversions deliver nice forces. Then these are paired with some lovely visuals. This is top tier for near misses, both in terms of their quantity and quality. The only drawback for me is the length being a hair shorter than I would like, but that is admittedly more of a nitpick. Swarm moved up mightily after my 2024 re-rides. When I first experienced this coaster in 2017, I was only able to ride it once due to the high crowds on my lone visit to Thorpe Park. I developed a much greater appreciation for this coaster after multiple rides. It now may even be my second favorite wing coaster. I definitely prefer Flug der Dämonen, but this is neck and neck with Thunderbird for the 2 spot. I love the entire package this coaster offers. Those are my thoughts on the Swarm at Thorpe Park. What are your thoughts on this coaster? Do you agree it's one of the best wing coasters? Let me know down in the comments. If you enjoyed this review, I would appreciate it if you gave this video a like, and you consider subscribing, because there'll be a lot more roller coaster amusement park videos here at Canopy Coaster. Thanks for watching.